In a previous lesson, you learned how to parse a string to a datetime offset. The method we used was parse. This worked okay so long as the value was a valid format and could be converted to a datetime offset. However, if we provided invalid data, such as the word hello, that is impossible to convert to a datetime, our application crashed due to an unhandled exception. We could handle this by catching the exception and then changing our program flow in a try-catch block. However, because this is so common, C# has a built-in function called TryParse. This handles the try-catch for us and makes consuming the parse method much easier for our program flow. Instead of crashing, this method will return simply a true or a false that we can then handle and change our program flow with an if statement. We will cover try, catch, and exceptions in future lessons, but for now let's give this new TryParse method a go and see how it helps our application. This is how we previously did our conversion. We used datetime_offset.parse. Let's run our program with F5 and see what happens when we enter an invalid date. As you can see, it breaks into the debugger for us and has thrown a format exception. Pressing F5 to continue our code, we can see our console crashed unexpectedly. The console application has a built-in error output window that handles exceptions and writes to the window. That window is the same one that we read and write to. That is why you see this error text, even though we didn't use console.writeLine. Needless to say, this is not the desirable user experience, and we need to fix it. Let's delete the parse method call, and instead we will call TryParse. As we can see from IntelliSense, the helper text here, the method wants an input text just like the parse method. We will pass in the user text just like before. It also wants a second parameter. If I just reduce my text size for a moment so you can see the whole window, you can see the second parameter says out datetime offset. But what is this out keyword? I will cover this in future lessons, but a quick explanation is that all variable types that we have dealt with so far, when passed into a method as a parameter, actually get copied into that method. We don't pass the original variable in. Let's check this out. Write a quick static method called test. Accept an int, a bool, and a datetime offset. Inside the method, set the values to something random. Go up to the main method. Create 3 variables with different values. And pass those values into the method. This should all be familiar to you now, as we have covered variables, the var keyword, and methods and parameters, so you should understand what is going on here. Set a breakpoint before the method is called, and press F5 to run the application. Notice the locals window has the values. A is 0, B is false, and C is datetime offset minimum value. Now if I press F11 here instead of F10, as you can see from the debug menu, F11 steps into. This will mean instead of our code jumping to this line of code next, it will actually step into the method and go line by line inside the method. As you can see, the values passed in, A, B, and C, in the locals window are the same values we were given, and pressing F10 to step over all 3 lines shows that A, B, and C in the locals window, which refer to these variables passed into the method, now have the values 5 true and today's date. Press F10 again to step outside of the method, and note now in the locals window that A, B, and C, which now refer to these three variables, haven't been changed. They are still the original values we set. That is because the variables get copied when passed in. So by default, when we pass an integer or any value type into a method, that value is copied and the parameter inside of the method, this integer a here, is not the same instance of the original variable a. This is a different copy. You can think of it as copying and pasting a file on your computer. The contents is exactly the same, but then when you edit the other file that has been copied, it doesn't change the original file. These values are copied values of the values passed in. So, due to this copy behavior of value types, if we take a look at the TryParse method again, what is it trying to do? If you read the IntelliSense, it states when the method returns, it contains the datetime offset. This is telling us that the variable we pass in to TryParse will be set to the value of the result. Based on our little experiment that cannot happen, as just passing a variable in normally creates a copy. Let's create our variable called parsed date and give it a default value. If we try to pass in the parsed value like normal, you will see that it highlights in red. Hovering over the red line tells us argument 2 must be passed with the out keyword, as the IntelliSense told us. What this keyword does, and again I will cover this in more depth in future lessons, is to pass the variable instance directly into the method, so the method gets this original variable and not a copy. More accurately, and to those who may be familiar with C++, this is passing a pointer to the original variable instead of a copy. For now, you can simply think about this as any changes the method TryParse makes to the variable passed in will directly affect our variable outside. Let's add the keyword out. And now the method is happy. That fixes the red line problem, and now the code will compile. Now after TryParse has run, we can return the variable parsed date, which contains the parsed date. Let's run this code and see what happens. Add a breakpoint to the TryParse. Press F5 to run the application, and let's enter a valid date. Looking in the locals window, we can see that the parsed date is currently the minimum value that we set on the line above. Press F10 to step over the TryParse call, and as we can see in the locals window, the parsed date has updated to the value we typed in the console. Great, so this method currently behaves the same as it previously did. Now let's try this again, but with invalid date. Let's enter hello. Press F10 to step over the TryParse method. As you can see, this time our application did not crash. Instead, it carried on as if nothing happened. Our parsed date did not change, but also the TryParse failed. So if left like this now, we would return to the caller of this method the minimum date time, but this might be invalid. The user did not enter this date. Also, what happens if the user did enter the date, the 1st of the 1st, 0001, as a real value? We cannot just presume that datetime.minValue means that the parse failed, nor should we. Going back to the TryParse method, hover our cursor over TryParse, and we can see the method signature at the very start states bool datetimeOffset.TryParse. The part in blue at the start of a method signature is the return value. Void means it returns nothing. If not, it's the type that is returned, in this case bool. This means that TryParse returns a true or a false value. And if we read the text, it states that it tries to convert the string and returns a value that indicates whether the conversion was successful or not. So what this means is, it returns a boolean of true or false, indicating whether the conversion succeeded. Let's store that result in a variable. Now run our code again and enter a valid date. Press F10 to step over, and we can see that succeeded has been set to true. Let's run the code once more, and this time enter hello. Step over the code, and we can see that succeeded is equal to false. With this knowledge, we can now form a logical flow to our program that deals with this failure one way and deals with the success another way, such as returning the valid date. The benefit of the TryParse method allows us to simply use an eval statement based on the result of calling this method. If we were to call just parse, we would have a lot more lines of code to manually try and catch the exception, handle it differently, and then form a larger logic block. We will move on now to using eval statements to correctly finish this method. So it asks for the user's date of birth, and if they enter an invalid date, it will continue to ask them until they enter a valid date.